A regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of United ISD will be held Wednesday, January 26, 2022, beginning at, I don't know what the time is now,
The time is 6:13.
6:13 in the United ISD Student Activity Complex, Fine Arts Building, Room Number 1, 5208 Santa Claudia Lane, Laredo, Texas 78041. The subjects to be discussed or considered are as listed below. Items do not have to be taken in the order shown on this meeting notice. Unless removed from the consent agenda, items identified within the consent agenda will be acted on at one time. First, we'll start with roll call, starting to my right.
Ricardo Rodriguez, present.
Elisa Oliveros, present.
Juan Roberto Ramírez, present.
Ricardo Molina, present.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Thank you. Agenda item 2, announcements by the board president calling this meeting of the United Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. If we can all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. Pledge
I
allegiance
pledge
to
allegiance to thee.
Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
I believe for agenda item 4, board recognitions.
Yes, Ms. Oliveros, members of the board. At this time, for the time being, we're not going to be having recognitions, and the reason for this decision is to avoid any more spread of the COVID. So we're doing the recognitions that are going to be done at the campuses, and your board members in your campus will be notified when they're having these recognitions, and you're welcome to attend with the students. There's only one recognition that I'd like to recognize, and everybody, members of the audience, at this time, we'd like to recognize our members of the board. This is January's National Board Appreciation Month. In celebration of the month, we please accept this token of our most heartfelt appreciation for your sincere dedication and unconditional support you continue to provide for our students at UISD, our teachers, administration, and staff. On behalf of our student teachers, administrators, and staff members, thank you for your exemplary leadership and time spent helping us build our great community one student at a time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So moving on to agenda item 5, public comments. Do we
Yes,
have any?
Madam Chair. For the record, Stephen Trotman, legal counsel for the district, and we have one public comment from Oscar Castillo. He will be speaking about agenda item 9A. And you have 3 minutes, Mr. Castillo.
Good evening. My name is Oscar Castillo. I'm representing I'm talking Pegua Consulting, and I'm talking about item 9A. I'm representing the Calevi Group, and this is just wanted to give you an update on the lot that that is going to be bought for the UISD kitchen. This is on Saunders. We had and all this has been submitted to your representatives, but we have the Clomer. We're going to have the left turn from 359 into the master plan. So the Clomer is probably like 60 days left on that process. The Clomer, as you know, is to remove a little bit of the flood zone that is within the plat. Also, the plat, we have final plat, so we're ready to go to construction. And I'm here mainly to have if you have any questions.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments. And unfortunately, I think during public comments, we're not able to dialogue.
Okay.
So I guess at a future time in the agenda, if we have questions.
Absolutely, I'll be here.
That is correct.
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Madam Vice President Oliveros, members of the board, at this time, I'm going to formally request that we can move on to item 7C, the approval of an independent audit report for the year ending August 31st, 2021, be led by our Assistant Superintendent of Finance, Sam Flores.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you,
So
Mr.
this is
Gonzalez.
agenda item 7E, is that correct?
7C.
C, okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Thank you, members of the board. We have with us Mr. Carlos Cascos. He's the principal partner, actually the only partner for Cascos and Associates. He'll be doing the presentation on the financial statements. I believe staff has put a copy of the presentation.
Yes.
Within the financial statements there on your desk.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Gonzalez. My name is Carlos Cascos from Brownsville, Texas, and it's always great to be in Webb County / Laredo, especially United ISD. Before you do have our audit report, but also accompanying the audit report is a few pages where we summarize for you the highlights of the audit. There's also behind the written part, there's some graphs that you can look at your pleasure that highlights important items on your balance sheet, such as net position, assets, liabilities, and more importantly, your unrestricted fund balance. I will take you to the first paragraph of this summary. It summarizes that the school district has earned unmodified opinions on all its aspects. An unmodified opinion is the most favorable opinion that any accounting firm can provide an entity, whether it's public or private. And those can be found on, if you want to read them at your leisure, pages 17, 193, and 195. I want to take you to almost to the last paragraph, which is what everyone likes to know, and that's the days of operations. The days of operations means how many days can the district remain open with no funding coming in, maintaining the levels of services that you adopted at the beginning of a school year. If you like to look, you've got 84 days worth of operations. 84 days is a strong financial position. Although TEA will never tell you what is an acceptable number of days to have in your unrestricted fund balance, they like to see anything 60 to 75 days or above. You're at 84 days, which exceeds the amount that I believe is what TEA likes to look at. If you'd like to figure out how that is, I will tell you it runs about 150, a million. Hold on, let me see if I can see. I'm going to have to put on my glasses, even though I didn't want to. Based on the information that's on the financial statements, 84 days of operations, your expenditures, I'm going to round off to the nearest 100, $386 million. Divide that by, those are your expenditures. Divide that by 365, gives you $1,058,000. That's what it costs the district every day to operate. Once you open your doors, $1 million, it's what it costs. The unassigned fund balance that you have is almost $89 million. So if you take that number into the $89 million, it gives you 84 days of operations, which is excellent. In my opinion, it provides for a very strong financial position of the district. I want to compliment the administration, of course the board, for maintaining the financial integrity and stability of this district. And of course, I met with the superintendent earlier, and Mr. Flores earlier, and your finance department earlier, and we went over the financials and my summary as well. So if you have any questions, I stand ready to answer those now.
Any questions?
No questions, ma'am.
Okay, other than just to congratulate, well, thank you for your report and to congratulate our financial department for all their hard work. It's very much appreciated, not
you for
only
your
by
kind
us, but
words.
by the taxpayers as well.
Yes.
Thank you for your kind words.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We asked Mr. Costco to have a safe drive. He's got to drive all the way to Brownsville, sir. Have a safe drive.
I love the drive, and may I be excused?
Yes, you may.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Y'all have a great day. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
be safe. All right, thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda item. Oh, do we need a motion to approve? Okay, do we have a motion?
I have a motion to.
Motion with a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. Okay, going back to the regular agenda, item number 6, consent agenda. Is there a motion to
I
approve?
make a
the-
motion to approve item A through D.
Second.
E, I'm
E,
sorry.
yeah, okay. A through E.
Second.
Second, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against, motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 7, items for individual consideration. 7A, approval of monthly donations. Do we have a report on the monthly donations?
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Ensign?
Yes, ma'am, excuse me.
No?
It is recommended that the United ISD Board of Trustees graciously accept the following donations, which will be attached to the minutes. The following are donations of 1,000 or more. A donation was received by Juarez Lincoln Elementary from Redman Renting Council number 16 in the amount of $2,000 and will be used to purchase items such as blankets, jackets, and heaters for our neediest families. The second donation is received by Raul Perales Middle School for their cheer booster club in the amount of $3,150 to pay for cheer bus expense in February. This is the fun cheer competition in Georgetown. And we had no donations that were under $1,000. So total was $5,850 donations.
Okay, do we have a motion to?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. Agenda item 7B, approval of board minutes for the month of August 2021. August 2021, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion passes. Agenda item 7C, we did. Agenda item 7D, approval of resolution of the United Independent School District Board regarding temporary emergency closure due to dangerous weather. Do we have staff reporting on this?
Yes, it is recommended the Board of Trustees approve the resolution regarding temporary emergency closure due to the dangerous weather.
All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion passes. Agenda item 7E, first and final reading of Board Policy BED Local Board Meetings, Public Participation. Yes, Mr. Garcia.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here substituting for Ms. Gloria Rendon, who happens to be on a trip with students visiting institutions of higher learning.
Okay.
And this is something that we do on a yearly basis. So
Okay.
hopefully those students will have something that's impressionable on them as they continue their education beyond UISD.
Absolutely.
Policy D, the first policy that comes before you happens to be the policy on public participation. And the language that's included in this particular proposal simply reads that public participation, which is scratched out at the very beginning, is simply embedded in the more or less in the middle portion of this particular revision. But it also reads that at regular board meetings, the board shall permit public comment regardless of whether the topic is an item on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Additionally, during the business and instructional meeting, the board shall permit public comment regardless of whether the topic is an item on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Individuals who make a public comment at a business and instructional committee meeting are subject to comply, of course, with the portions of this policy. The difference is in special call meetings, during these particular meetings, public comments shall be limited to items on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting, which is a little different for special called meetings. Again, the procedures, the individuals are to follow the procedures that are established by policy. And of course, what it also says right here about the middle portion, it says public comments shall occur at the beginning of the meeting. This is what's scratched out at the top, but just embedded at the lower portion of this particular policy. And of course, during the meeting itself, it also says that in accordance with policy, when necessary for effective meeting management or to accommodate a large number of individuals wishing to address the board, the presiding officer may make adjustments to public comment procedures, including adjusting when public comment will occur during the meeting, reordering the agenda items, deferring public comment, on non-agenda items, continuing agenda items on a later meeting, providing expanded opportunity for public comment, or establishing an overall time limit for public comment, and adjusting the time allotted to each speaker. However, no individual shall be given less than 1 minute to make a public comment.
Okay.
Okay, this is the proposal, of course, based
All
on
right,
earlier
so-
discussion.
And
All
just
right.
quickly to chime in, this is based off of the action you all took in December.
Right, that's what I was going to say,
So
just
this
is
is
putting
new.
it in writing,
Following
up.
making it
That
formal.
is correct.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item 7F. First and final reading, did we do that one? No. First and final reading of Board Policy DFE local,
That is
termination of employment, resignation.
That is correct. This particular revision of this termination of employment or resignation policy now includes the language, and I'll read the first statement. All resignations shall be submitted in writing to the superintendent or board-appointed designee. And of course, you'll see this particular entry in the entry of this particular section that will say, or will read, board-appointed designee. Okay, that's an entry because the board does have that discretion whether to assign or reassign individuals to accept resignations as they occur during the course of the year. If we look at-will employees, in the top third portion, it says board-appointed designee shall authorize or accept resignations of an at-will employee at any time. Superintendent may delegate to other administrators the authority to accept a resignation of an at-will employee other than contracted or exempt staff. Later into the body for contracted employees, if the employee provides a resignation to a supervisor who is not a designee, that poor person shall be forwarded to visit a person who is approved by either the board or the superintendent in order to address that resignation. The latter part of the policy at the bottom of the page, it reads as follows. For the purposes of this policy, the board-appointed designee shall include the following: Associate Superintendent for Administration, and this is the prior Gloria Rendon title, who is now an associate. So the administration will recommend to scratch that title as part of the HR function to accept resignations. As we read later into the policy, it says associate, and it's the following page, Associate Superintendent for Student Support Services. That is the old Eddie Zuniga title.
Okay.
That is being held by Mr. Mike Garza. And quite honestly, after that, it says Assistant Superintendent for HR should be associate, and of course, it also identifies Director of Employee Relations, Director of Compensation, and with the new administrator in HR, Mr. David Canales, Executive Director, the administration is going to recommend his inclusion in order to work with the hundreds of people that we deal with every single year that for different personal and professional reasons exit our school district. The turnover during the course of a 12-month period is about 500 or 600 people. So it does get kind of cumbersome, but we address it and we meet the needs of those people that we're bringing in, but it's more especially those that want to withdraw for different reasons that approach our office.
Okay, all righty.
Just to chime in, this policy change is basically in line with TASB's most recent update.
Okay.
That's the main reason behind it.
All right, okay.
The recommendation of the title changes is just to keep in line with the different positions that we currently have active in
Okay,
our
makes sense.
organizational team.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 7G, first and final reading of Board Policy BDB Local, Board Internal Organization, Internal Committees.
Yes, this was an item that Jaime and I did review. We looked at a bunch of policies from larger school districts in the state, and it just clarifies basically the business and instruction committee, who can sit in on the meetings and things of that nature. But basically, only members of the business committee can sit on the business committee, and only members of the instruction committee can sit on the instruction committee. Unless we have 0 members show up, then we can have
Then they
one
can
sit on there.
substitute.
Other than that, it's pretty much status quo.
Can a member, for example, of an instructional committee sit in the audience?
Absolutely.
Okay, just not formally sitting in on the committee?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, correct. Do we have a motion for approval?
Motion for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes. Agenda item 7H, discussion and possible action to approve memorandum of understanding between United Independent School District and City of Laredo concerning student-parent reunification process involving school campus emergency evacuations. Do we have a report from staff?
Yes, it's pretty much, ma'am, we have our emergency drills we'll be using. Mr. Garcia can go over.
Yeah, long story short, for the record, Jaime Garcia, legal counsel. This is the memorandum with the city of Laredo regarding mass reunification. So for instance, if there's a mass emergency at school, the reunification center would be the same arena.
Okay.
And this kind of outlines how that process would play out. And it's something we've had in place with them for a few years. So we just made some slight revisions. So it's here for your approval tonight.
Perfect. Okay, thank you
And
very
we're
much.
going to be having a drill where we're organizing in March.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
How many schools report there?
Well, it varies. I mean, we try to use a lot of our employees
Okay.
for first
Yeah.
round, so full.
All righty, that'll be a very good practice.
Yeah.
We'll
All right.
invite you to that.
Thank you. Do we have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Do you have a second?
Second?
Second, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes. Agenda item 7I, approval of request to board members in regards to use of Board of Trustee discretionary funds for various campuses and departments.
Yes, this time it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the request of board members for the use of discretionary funds. The items are there. I can go over them, ma'am, unless you want us to.
Oh, I'm okay.
They're
We're
there.
good. We have it in our board packet.
Yes, you do.
All right, do we have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion passes. Okay, agenda item 8, closed session. The time is currently 6:34 p.m. In accordance with Texas Government Code Section 551.071 and 551.072, the board will discuss items 8A and 8B. No action will be taken in closed session. Okay, we adjourn. We should be back in
Half an hour.
30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes? We'll see. The board has reconvened from closed session, and we are now in open session. The time is 8:02 p.m. for the record. No action was taken in closed session. Agenda items 9A, possible action with respect to the execution of a purchase and sale agreement regarding the acquisition of a tract of land of approximately 10.77 acres out of a 53.40 acre tract of land, which itself is out of a tract of land described in the deed recorded in volume 1089, pages 586 to 587, deed records, Webb County, Texas. The tract is situated in portion 28 E. Martinez, abstract 241, Webb County, Texas. Such property being in the vicinity of the intersection of Saunders Boulevard and Loop 20 in Laredo, Webb County, Texas. The purchase of said acres will be from L91 BC Properties LLC.
Yes, Madam Chair, the recommendation is a motion to table.
Do you have a motion?
Second?
Motion second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against? Motion to table passes.
Yes, ma'am.
Agenda item 9B, possible action with respect to the possible execution of a purchase and sale agreement regarding the possible acquisition, an approximately 10.16 acre tract on the north side of Clark Boulevard, east of Chacon Creek and west of Bob Bullock Loop, and west of the Walmart Supercenter, owned by Killam Development Ltd.
Yes, the recommendation is a motion to table.
Second? Move?
Okay, so a
Second.
motion, second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion passes. And I believe we are ready for adjournment. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? I don't think we have to
Good
do
evening,
the-
thank you.
Yes.